Am I the asshole for not wanting my wife to remain friends with the person that she cheated on me with? All right, here we go. My wife, 23 and female, recently expressed a need to have more friendships. We had recently moved and it's been difficult for both of us to make new friends. I work 12-hour shifts. I know she had been feeling very lonely for quite some time due to the lack of much social interaction, so she downloaded Bumble Friends to see how it could go. I didn't think anything of it, and I encouraged her to make a new friend. Well, she ended up finding a friend that she liked, and one night while I was home off from work, she invited this new friend over. It seemed like the meetup was going well, and I spent most of the evening giving them space to hang out. Well, as the night progressed, my wife ended up quickly asking the new friend to leave. She came to me immediately after expressing that the friend had just expressed a desire to kiss her. I was very upset and mad at this new friend and immediately expressed that I no longer wanted her to remain friends with her. My wife agreed initially that she didn't want to be friends with someone who disrespected our marriage. Now, the next 2 days, my wife seemed pretty upset and sad that she no longer had that friendship. It hurt my feelings that she still wanted to be friends with her, but I expressed to her she could as long as she set boundaries with the friend and if she were to do something again to cut it off all contact. As the days progressed, my wife became distant with me and was on the phone with her often. When I would try to even glance over her phone, she would turn it away. I became really concerned with her behavior. I asked if she was hiding something. She insisted there was nothing to hide and that I was paranoid. After fighting on and off about my insecurities and her secretive behavior, I took it upon myself to read her messages on the computer. She had told me her iCloud was not saving messages anymore on her phone, which I did not believe. Come to find out, she had not deleted the recently deleted cloud on her computer, and I found hundreds of messages between her and this friend. The messages were sexual in nature, and I even saw she had sent her an address to meet up while I was at work. I felt betrayed and immediately felt like a knife went through my chest. I confronted her immediately. She admitted to the behavior and said they had never did anything physically in person, which I have a hard time believing. She expressed the reason she did it was because we had not been having sex for a long time due to me struggling with my mental health. I kind of understood why she may have felt neglected by me sexually, but I did not know she would ever think to even speak with another person sexually since we are married. The day after finding out was horrible, and I felt incredibly guilty saying that she could not be friends with this person. She tells me that she feels empty without their friendship, and this friend understood her in ways I did not. I expressed again how uncomfortable this is making me and how I don't understand why she can't cut it off if she still loves me and respects me. She still has not cut off communication with her and is still making me feel guilty about saying I don't want her to communicate with her anymore. She even said she no longer sees us having a sexual relationship in the future. Everything is a mess. I just don't want to go back to the way it was before I found out all of this. Am I the asshole for not wanting her to continue her friendship with her for the sake of her own happiness?
There's a lot of emotion in that question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of issues around respect and boundaries and infidelity and thirds in the relationship. There's a lot of caring too on the part of this person that wrote that on Reddit, because it sounds like they really want to support their partner in having a really healthy, friendship and peer support group but now it's become a threat to the relationship. And for me, as just personally and also as a marriage counselor, anything that feels threatening to the relationship, you have to say that's not okay right now and focus on how did that threat even get into the crack of this relationship. And I get it. I hear long work hours and like reduced intimacy, but you focus on that first and try to understand the cracks so that this other threat doesn't come into the relationship. And again, it sounds like this couple might be young. I think I heard you say 20s.
23 and 25.
And we usually don't even have the skills to understand what those cracks are. And so no, you are not the a-hole. It sounds like you really care and that you really want to see your spouse thrive and feel very happy. However, this threat has caused a lot of distress. And so we would say, how do you guys make agreements around keeping this threat out until you guys have really understood what those cracks are in your relationship?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it speaks to a thing that we talk a lot about, which is that when you go through significant shifts, transitions in your life with your partner, oftentimes it exposes pre-existing sort of like fault lines in your relationship. And what this writer talked about at the very beginning was they just moved to a new place. They went through a really big transition, and they were both sort of feeling lonely. And what it did was, it seems it exposed, as the letter sort of goes on, it exposed the fact that there were some pre-existing problems, that the writer had mental health issues, and that was affecting their intimacy in their relationship. And what began as just like seeking friendships really began to sort of metastasize out to that there were gaps in their relationship, in their probably emotional and physical intimacy that was leading, that needed to be plugged up or needed to be addressed. And instead of them addressing it as a couple, it got mixed up with when this third, another person came into the relationship.
But I like the idea of this only because it helps us provide knowledge to our listening community that transitions are happening all the time, but we are not equipped as individuals or as couples to understand that they really can rupture functioning, which is kind of what has happened here. And so the more knowledge and strategies we have to be like, wow, this transition is happening. And we have to be able to talk about what our experience is and how can we support each other through this. Like, there's just this expectation that everything will be okay always, especially when we're younger. So again, it's like, I'm sad that this is happening, but the good news is like there can be a realignment for sure. And it's happened earlier than later. We have a lot of couples where this has been the functioning for like 20, 30 years. And the realignment is like, how do we come back together and understand what just happened and feel connected again so that we don't need external sources to feel okay within this relationship.
Yeah. And so I think the really direct answer to this is, am I the asshole for not wanting my partner to still be friends with a person that they've, been intimate with? No, I mean, because we have to be able to state what our boundaries are. And that's what you're basically saying is it okay to say, I don't want you to be friends with this person who has become a third in our relationship.
And a threat, which is the threat.
Now from here, that's where things get complicated, right? Because then the partner has the ability to be, is that okay or not?
Or feeling controlled.
Will I choose to respect that boundary? And that's, one of the hard things about laying down boundaries and saying like, no, it's not okay. Your partner gets to decide then whether they're willing to live with that boundary or not.